Well, good day, everybody. It's an unbelievable day today here in Les Sables d'Olonne. It's complete blue sky, just a gentle breeze. It's mild temperatures. The marina is looking very beautiful outside the window of our office. And it's not only that, but it's a special day because today is basically exactly 1 week. Well, not even that, really, before I go to Cape Town. And it caught me short. I thought we had 2 weeks left, and I thought 30th. Hang on, I'm leaving on the 8th. So it's all happening rather quick. So we'll be down in Cape Town very soon. And lots of different little things going on. I think you would have already seen the press release. It's funny, we weren't going to schedule one, and then we started writing one, and there was so much to say. So there's always stuff going on, and it will continue for some time yet, like about another 7 months or something. So all fun. And let's just go straight to the tracker. I'll do the question and answers. I'll probably do tomorrow. We've got about 16 questions there, some of them quite good, some of them quite controversial. But I'll give you the full brief on that. And I would imagine we get a few more questions today from the Europe end. It's the weekend. I'll get to do the questions tomorrow. And I'll certainly check comments. G'day, Paul and Christine, here at the end of this, so I can answer any immediate questions from this brief on the tracker. All very depressing for me because I'm watching Explorer sit there now with no breeze and no spinnaker, but that's another story which I'll talk about right now. Now I'm on. So big news, of course, was Penjewett crossing the equator, and now she's just running away, or he's just running away, and doing really well. 6.9 knots at the moment, 139 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So not as fast as they can go, but remember we were saying these trades are all dying off. Anyway, straight to the back end of the fleet, tail end Charlie. That was controversial in the office yesterday with their photo. I said, no, the caption's got to be tail end Charlie, and the other girls in the office saying, don't be stupid. So that was the caption, if you haven't read the caption on the press release. Had a military connection as well. Anyway, they're bringing up the rear, but they're having a good time, and they've got plenty of breeze, 5.7 knots, 142 nautical miles in a day, which is good, and they're going to be doing that for some time. So that's all good for them. They're quite relaxed, and then they'll have to face the doldrums. And actually, we'll bring it up, but the fleet back end, the doldrums are looking quite challenging. So I think the visit times in Cape Town are going to be very short for the tail enders. Of course, Godspeed, the end of everything as well. 14th line on us, 14th IRC, and 5th in adventure class. But the fun factor is huge. And these trades, if we push it through for a day, you can see they're getting stronger. Second day, they're still hanging out. Third day, they've got at least 3 days or so to run down there. And in fact, I can give you an indication of when they're going to hit the doldrums if they hold that existing course. Okay, 2.5 days, 300 miles to go. So 2 big days, but this is not quite up at that angle then. So in 2 to 3 days, they'll be in the doldrums and questioning what time are they going to get to Cape Town. So here's the current situation. Explorer's second to last, 13th line on us, 13th IRC, 4th in cellular class. That's the end of cellular class as well, and doing 1.2 knots and did 103 nautical miles in the day, which isn't too bad. At least they kept moving, but now they're just stuck in a hole. And Evrika's the same, 2.6 knots, but they did 124 miles in the day, so they've pulled away a little bit from Explorer. And there's possibly just looking at her current there. I mean, this is Evrika. Her direction. No, there's no current, so she's sailing to. She's actually sailing there to the breeze. There'll be, possibly this southerly slant here. So she's tacking slowly, on starboard tack. Explorer's got a completely different direction because there's obviously a cell here forming. That's why the wind's coming out from the center there this way and up. No, it's coming both ways. So it's what would you say? Not the conjunction, combination of all sorts of things happening at once, but basically thunderstorms. Let's look at the clouds. It should be quite a bit of stuff. No, not too bad. Not exactly clear sky, but not too bad. And anyway, they'll be enjoying the ride. So then Sterner, not a lot of breeze as well, but still managing 5.6 knots, 141 miles in the day. That's good. They'd be happy with that, and they're certainly on the go. But look at bloody White Shadow. They really nailed it on this one by going out to the west. I wish anyway, I've sort of got to stop talking about Explorer. It's a yacht race and all sorts of things happen. But yeah, White Shadow, good move to get over there. That's traditional stuff. 2.8 knots, 153 miles in the day, completely roared away from Evrika Explorer and still pushing ahead of Sterner. So some quite fun stuff going on there. Galliana's finally slowed down a bit. Even though the chart there is showing a bit of breeze, 3.2 knots, 127 in the last 24 hours, 8th in line on a 6th in IRC and 2nd in adventure class. So that's not bad. Now, this is going to be a discussion point because Outlaw over here is doing extremely well and she's got another 32 hours up her sleeve. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way I look at it. There is definitely a slot here for the breeze. We actually, as part of for full transparency, I should say, as part of the compensation package for Outlaw rejoining the race, at the point that she rejoined the race, we actually gave them a weather forecast, right, to explain the situation to allow them to make the most of the projected weather. And that forecast was running through, I think it went through for about 4 to 5 days. So that may be part of the reason that she's decided to hold in, because when we gave them the forecast, this was a big patch of light air, and and the forecast was clearly showing a pressure gradient of breeze along the coast. But that forecast now runs out. Okay, I forget exactly what it was. I think it was 4 or 5 days, but as I said before, and I'll bring it up again, I think she's committed now to take this route, and that puts her in a unique position, completely different than the rest of the course. And if I was them, having been delivered that sort of scenario out here, I would be very tempted to go through the middle of the South Atlantic, and it may pay dividends. So, but it may not as well. It could lose out, but you haven't got a lot to lose because you can always. I did a bit of this yesterday, but just to confirm, once you're committed to take this side and go down through the middle of the system here, you can see it slants across, and sometimes you can just literally go straight for Cape Town. But if it starts to get too hard and too difficult, you just pay off and you across the breeze, and you're not necessarily losing a lot of ground. But one thing's for sure, they're committed now to stay that side of the course, and it's going to be very interesting to watch. Now I'm repeating myself because I know I discussed that yesterday, but it's a fun part. At least we've got someone over there. Okay, so down to Triana, doing 5.1. They're showing a nice breeze there. That's 15, 20 knots there in the green. But it's obviously coming from dead ahead. But that's the start of, potentially, it's like out of the doldrums. This will be blowing the thunderstorms away, maybe, and so they're on a difficult slant because of these little pressure ridge warps here, you might say, in the system. So they'll come around and get going, but at least they're moving. Neptune is pretty much looked as if they're parked, but they certainly haven't done a long day. They've done 89 nautical miles in the day, doing 3.7 knots again. At least they're moving. So they're getting towards the end of the doldrums anyway. The Spirit Equipped 5.9 knots, doing okay, and heading in a pretty good direction as well, because any westing, once you get through the doldrums, any easting rather that you make is actually a bonus, because you can pay off later and go for boat speed. So they're in a nice position there. It's not too bad at all. Maiden, however, loving the conditions, doing 6 knots at the moment. They still only did 131 nautical miles in the day, so nothing to scream about, but doing very well. Translated 6.9 and 155 in the last day. But you can see there's varying degrees of colour here, which means the wind strength varies, for the areas. It's very patchy. So that could be why they're going a bit faster than Maiden. Spirit of Helsinki, 7.9 knots, 125 miles in the day. So they're flying at the moment, but they didn't do a lot in the last day. So that's probably, I think their speed will be up now because they're in this trades again. And we talked about Penduic, so that's not too bad. The thing now is to look at what's going to happen here to the doldrums going forward, or for the inconsistencies and the big holes and everything. So we'll just look at this whole group now. Then we're going to go onto the leaderboard and we'll start looking at some of the statistics and so on. So every button press is 1 hour rather. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 That breeze at the back end of the fleet is kind of interesting. The calm area is moving out to the west. This is later this afternoon. And so at least Evrika and Explorer may get some breeze and crack those spinnakers, but I'm not sure of the state of Explorer's spinnaker. She's actually got a beautiful big new one, which she flew at the start from Rolly Tasker Sales, bit of a plug there. Plus she's got another really nice asymmetric that came with the boat, and she's got one other running kite, which is actually original from 48 years ago. It was used on the brochure of Norda Swan when they started to sell the 57s, because the hull of Explorer is hull number 3. And that was the one that was featured on all their sales brochures and done for the boat shows and all that sort of stuff. And it's flying the original kite, which we realized when we cracked the kite. That's the one in the brochure 48 years ago. Anyway, I digress. So Evrika, yeah, they'll get some breeze tomorrow. So I think we'll see that. Sterner, however, and White Shadow may well and truly fall into a hole. So we'll just have to see, but it won't be for long. You can sort of see what's going. Here we come up to, this is 2 days out. So 2 days away. The breeze is following from behind. So, but that's not very far. I think Explorer will probably be at the point of still following light winds, 179. Yeah, they'll be down here in a couple of days. So still just following the light breezes. I think White Shadow and the others might get through on this. They'll be through and start to pick up this breeze. Outlaw, they're on the hot side, but it might get hard in the next few days. So, and then they'll be into it. But it looks like a big hole. They're finally going to maybe slow down a little bit. And the Spirit Equipped, yeah, she'll turn around. So that's all looking pretty reasonable. I think we can come back here from that. Let's just have a look heading south to see what's happening for Marie and the team with this trough, because there's a distinct, as we mentioned, there's this low pressure system here is dictating the weather, and there's this compression here from what is the remnants of a high. This is actually the part of the top of a high pressure, but there's not a lot of gradient there. The contours would be pretty straightforward. So it's going to go a little bit softer. Let's see if she collides with this. So it's about 600 miles, so 3 days. So let's just get rid of that, and then I'm going to slide the weather forward for 3 days first. Hang on, 30th. Why is there only one? I thought that I'm just checking the calendar here. There's 31. Oh no. Oh, jeepers. Yeah, of course. Okay. There's into the first, second, so that's about 3 days' time. Yeah, about the same. No, oh boy, check that out. Okay, so it's 30th. 1, 2, 3. So let's say about there. Oh, wacko. They're going to take off. What this is showing quite clearly is that in about 3 days, they're going to be around about here, and it's going to come on her port quarter. So they're going to clean up here. They're going to sail straight down onto the back of this, and they can start hooking around, but then it'll come down to the gamble of where is the high. So that's where they're going to be in about 3 days' time, and that's the weather forecast for 3 days. I'm just going to now I'll go a little bit slower on this so you can see. So she'll be here. The breeze is now rolling off the back of this new high. This is the new establishing high that she's going to have to deal with. I think she's going to get a free ride down the back of that high. And it depends on timing. She might actually make it. So here we go. There's 1 day. You can see that the high is pretty stationary. The center of it, and just starting to move east. So this is on day 4. So at that point, she's down here. They'll have asymmetric kites up. They may even back into this heavier weather here. It's October the 4th. Coming into the 5th. Yep. Wow. That's called a free meal ticket. It's going to be quite amazing, because usually if we look at the latitudes here, I'm going to waffle on a bit here. If it's too boring, you can go and make a cup of tea. Here's 30 degrees south, and here's 40 degrees south of the equator. Usually you've got to come down under 40 to get below the high. There it is there. But often you've still got these strong southeasterlies. So you have to push and work hard pretty much all the way down. In the GGR, it was a nightmare. Basically going close reaching and even close to windward work to get south. What's going to happen here? Marie's going to come down here, and then the wind's going to swing right on schedule, and she's going to get a free ride to rip down the back of this high. And she won't even need to, or it's a long way. So let's just see what it does. There's the 4th. There's coming up to the 5th. Oh, there's some big winds there. Anyway, and then, so yeah, she'll just scream down here. And how far? It's 5. I'm just going to see how long that's going to last for, because you can see there it's going to push her across. Okay, that's the 6th. That's 7 days. 7 to 14. She'll be about 1,200, maybe 1,200, 1,300 miles. Yeah, so she'll be about here by then. Still really good, and she may even be bold enough to start cutting the corner here. And then I think our weather forecast is going to run out here, but let's just see. There's the 6th, there's the 7th, there's the 8th. Wow. Okay, she could be bold enough to start turning straight away and try and ride this one. You can see here, this is the high. It's squashed up a bit going around underneath South Africa, but here it's the southeasterly. She won't want that. But if she's really quick enough, this is the 8th, so it's 9 days. It's about 1,600 miles maybe, or more. Let's just see. Yeah, she could be riding this bit here at that stage, and still in the 35s, not even having to go down into the 40s. So, and the others, the tail ender group, they're coming up here. They'll be still battling the trades, and the mid-range group, the translated and Maiden and Helsinki, they'll be on their hammer as well. They'll be getting a good ride, but the others, oh boy. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go to the leaderboard and see what's going on here. Just for some stats, we're coming up to 3 weeks from the start from tomorrow. So in terms of line honours, Penjuik has done 3,883 miles since the start, with 3,285 to the finish. You can all read this yourself, of course, but Spirit of Helsinki, 3,600 since the start, 3,400 nearly for translated, 3.5 for maiden. And this is always interesting to watch who's sailing the straightest line, of course, depending on where their position is on the leaderboard. So average speed for Penjuik since the start is 7.4 knots, and the others all go down from there, 7.6, 6.6, and so on. So and if we go right down to Explorer, we've got to get a bit more up here. There's Godspeed at the end. Godspeed's average 3.9 knots, Explorer 5.2, Evrika 5.3, the interesting ones, 5.4 for Sterna, 5.5, and so on. So there's some fun statistics there. That's from the start. And if you go recent, VMG recently, which is their speeds, then it'll give you some more statistics and possible arrival times. So since the start, in recently, Explorer is going to arrive on 16th of November. Forget about that. Okay, so we'll go IRC, and we'll go from the start. IRC from the start. You can see how they rank. Penjuik is correct. Elapsed time 46 days 16, 47 20. So translated is basically about a day behind Penjuik on IRC handicap rating. Triana is another couple of days behind that at 49 days and 16 hours. Maiden is 49 and 23 hours. So Triana is in front of Maiden on handicap. And Spirit of Helsinki comes next at 50 days, so about 10 hours behind. And Galliana Secure is on 51.20. So when you're reading this the corrected time, that will tell you how far ahead or how far behind any of the boats are in comparison to each of them at that point since the start. Okay, and I won't even go from in the last few hours because there's so much inconsistency in the weather, from there. But the interesting one, if we go from the start, their potential. That's enough anyway. Everyone can see it. So Evrika's down there, Godspeed down the back, White Shadow, Sterna. Everyone's doing pretty well. So That's enough. I think we've covered all of that. So we're just about done. I will come back here and look at the comments and questions. If anyone's got any there, come back to the beginning. Paul, Christine, g'day, Moreton Bay, Dartmouth, good morning, Paul. What time will the Q&A be approximately? Assuming there's enough questions there, and there's no such thing as a silly question, by the way. People are always worried about asking questions. And just ask it, because if you're thinking it, someone else will probably want to know anyway. So I'll do the tracker tomorrow morning, and then have a break for 15 minutes to have a drink and recover from the voice, and then I'll go straight into questions. So it should be tomorrow, straight after this tracker update. Aaron, good morning from Ireland. Oh, I like Ireland. Never been there, but I like it. Morning. Wishing all the boats some good wins, especially Godspeed. Yep. SJ Horn. Thanks, Paul. Morning, Eon. How is your island today? Caprice. I think Outlaw will be the one to watch. Yeah, interesting position, because there's any number of situations in the previous Whitbreads where taking that route down the middle has really paid dividends. So quite interesting to watch that. How is Plymouth this morning? Oh, it's Paul. There's nothing dry at the moment, but okay, having a quite private conversation. Looks like Eureka will follow Outlaw along the coast. No, I wouldn't say that at the moment. I would not say that at the moment. They've got some good sailors on there, and Dominic knows what's going on. And I think they've just been sucked into that direction by the local weather conditions to keep the boat sailing. That's the most frustrating thing about the doldrums. You get there, and the wind just in your, say 5 square miles or something can come from this way, can come from that way. And all you want to do is just keep the boat moving. It doesn't matter if you're going backwards, or whatever. It's nothing worse than just sitting there doing nothing. You get a puff of breeze. And if you can go somewhere rather than just nowhere, it's better than just letting the sails flog or having to drop the sails and so on. So I reckon they've just been trapped into that, and they'll come back on and follow the others. Outlaw definitely is interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Okay, that's it. So we will see you tomorrow. Look forward to it. Thanks a lot.